So the next day, or rather at the end of the day, you do your debrief with with Professor Jack Dandy, and you're able to convey to them what you've learned. And they make a lot of concerned noises, and they say, so what you're telling me is that they are accessing a black market of some sort here in Medleystead, using help from people from here in Medleystead. Oh, that's interesting. Like, I personally, obviously, am against that type of action, but can we, in good conscience, block citizens of the city from engaging in the type of trade they want to engage in? Is this the kind of thing that should be opened up to a vote, or is it the kind of thing that we should try and shut down? That's a question we'll have to consider. Either way, I think we need to know more.
That's true, but I also just don't think that these people are very trustworthy. I don't think that I get the sense that they want things for us that would not be good.
That is always a risk when you're opening up to new markets. I'm going to need to, I'll need to consult with the rest of the bazaar merchants, and we'll have to decide the best route forward here. We don't want to be working in secret, but we need to think first. We need to know more, I think, before we release this information to the general public. I don't want to create a panic. At the same time, I don't want to create the impression that we're trying to exert a level of control that wouldn't be appropriate and wouldn't fit with our philosophy here.
Keva it might be a good idea if you want to. How involved is the Concord Lagoon?
Well, they're involved in, as usual, anything that concerns the overall welfare of the city, of our community. That's their purview. I mean, anyone who wants to can go get involved at Concord Lagoon. It's not a closed system. Not everybody likes to spend their time in debate and politics.
That's true.
If you allow us to complete our investigation and perhaps get a bit more information, we don't really have to clash with the philosophy of Medleystead at all. We'll know for certain that it's a bad call.
I guess that's true. Do you think you can, I hate to ask, but how soon can you do this?
It's my number one priority, personally.
I see. And they look around at Keva and Jojo. Would you all be willing to take this on?
You know me, I'm game for anything.
If it comes to the safety of our community, of course.
I just don't want to assume, but I deeply appreciate it. As I said, I need to consult with my colleagues here. I'll need to bring in questionable sausage and who else? And I think they are sort of wandering off at this point, and they're raising their voice like, questionable sausage, are you over there? Questionable sausage. And they seem very distracted, and the call kind of hangs for a bit and then automatically ends. And you also have at this point yet another message, not a message, yet another call from of course, our friend the Logistarch. And she doesn't really wait for you to answer. It seems that she has noted that your line is free, so she just comes onto the line. Her face is at the more appropriate size that it was when she adjusted last time, but she says, good. Now, I have a couple of leads that I think will be interesting to you. You were just talking to whom? Oh, you don't, that's private. You don't need to tell me. But I have a couple of leads that we could follow up on in regards to this mystery game that I'm very keen on uncovering more about. But I think, well, it could be very dangerous.
How dangerous, Keva says, and looks at the other two, which she knows that they're all for this. But she's being a bit cautious.
She has a bit of excitement in her voice, and she says, you would have to bring something through the rift into Anthophyta for me.
Okay. Now, when you say something, you don't mean like a bomb or a virus?
He pauses for a moment as if thinking about those ideas for the first time, and then says, I mean, a virus would certainly solve our problems. We could capture some samples of each of the types of life that exist there first, and after a little bit of experimentation...
Biological weapons are well off the table, Logistarch.
She pauses again.
Think about all the innocent lives there. There's got to be nice people there. We wouldn't want to hurt them.
Forget about nice, it's just whether or not they're a non-combatant. It shouldn't even be weapons we're considering at all.
Well, you brought it up.
I was kind of making a joke, but also being serious. Basically, that I'm not going to engage in that sort of warfare when we don't know for sure.
Is this a signal booster for your processes?
Yes, it's... Why would you think... Okay. So, I need you to bring through a package that I am having my people put together and take it through the rift. And I need you to see if there is a settlement and if they have some type of network that they use. I've been able to reverse engineer a little bit of code that should allow me to access their networks, much as they patched their code to access the wave, assuming, again, that it's them. We still don't know that this game, we don't know for sure that this game is coming from Anthophyta, but I think it's a pretty safe bet. And I don't like to make bets in general. So if you can bring that package through the rift, then a version of myself can begin investigating and see what I can find out.
Would that version have your same protections against intrusion?
As to the best of my abilities, of course.
Is this like version still technically you? Or are we talking like now you have a progeny? Keva says, now being completely confused.
She doesn't sigh, but you get kind of the impression that maybe she's sighing and has muted it. And she says, organics. No, I'm going to splinter off some processes of myself and put them into a box.
Okay. Yes. No, I know.
We absorb them when they come back. That's it.
No, I know about that. When you said that, I didn't know if you meant that or something else. I'm sorry. That was just me not just trying to clarify.
I know that I'm not the most patient woman in the world. I'm just trying to... Can you do this for me? Will you do this for me?
Does this job necessitate us bringing the box back, or is that going to be a separate one?
I suppose it depends on how long you can spend there without being discovered and how safe it is for you to return. I don't know if I can transmit through a rift. That's why the second portion of this box is just a little bit of a garden that will set up a wave outpost there. And hopefully I'll be able to, transmit back through the rift on the wave, but can't be guaranteed. If I can, once you have installed the version of me into their systems, I'll be able to tell you that I'm connected. But if not, then we would at some point need to retrieve it.
If we're banking off the assumption that they've been able to manipulate their own code into integrating with the wave in the way that we believe that it has, would they be able to piggyback off of this new transmission and send something directly into you?
There's a risk, but the level of workmanship I have seen in their existing hack doesn't lead me to believe it's anything I can't handle.
Well, all right then. When do we ship out, Commander?
Oh, of course. Well, as much time as it takes for us to get ready, then we can. I imagine we're going to just need to jump out. I guess we can't really we can take the express to the rift, but I don't want it going into the rift because that would be bad.
And of course, you don't want to be noticed, and the express, for all its wonderful qualities, does stand out.
This is very true. It's very flashy. I love it, even though it's flashy. Keva stops for a second and then continues. However, it might be a good idea if I try to keep a low profile over there as well. I don't want them to get too much information about us as the Sunbreakers and our abilities.
Of course. So you're okay. You'll go. Okay. Well, I'll let you work out the details. And she hangs up. And so basically, you have the choice to take on that job that she's asked you to do, to transport this box to Anthophyta and try to install it near a settlement. Or you can investigate, follow around the people who are already here, which is what the Bizarre Merchants Collective was asking you to do. sounds like you want to do the Logistarch's mission, though.
She's Keva's bingo buddy, of course.
Is there a way we can be in two places at once, Commander?
Oh, I guess we could split up.
I'm reticent to do that given hard contact with these Anthophytans has been violent, and Reaching looks over to Jojo.
Well, we could always get some contract help. It might be better if, well,
Are you saying you want to subcontract this?
a little bit, but I think Keva just had an idea.
All right. What's Keva's idea?
So currently, we don't have Trudy here with us. What if we did another part of one of the missions with Trudy and a second character, subtract character for the other part of the mission?
Yeah, I mean that's a possibility, and we can figure that out for sure off camera. But what I'm hearing is that in general, as players, you're more interested in going through that rift.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I got
Hell
to
yeah.
open the portal.
So we'll deal with whatever the other things might be regarding the mission for the Bizarre Merchants Collective some other time once we're all together and can talk it through. But for now, that's the mission we're taking on. It's like shortly after the Logistarch hangs up, there is a knock at the front door of the aquarium. And who answers the doors? Who does the doors this time?
Well, if it's Keva's bingo buddy brain package, Keva wants it.
Okay. So, Keva, you open the front door, and there's just there's a delivery drone hovering there with a box, as promised. It's a fairly innocuous looking. It looks like maybe ceramic box of some sort,
Ooh.
and it does not have any obvious openings or buttons or anything on it. But there is a message attached to it, and it says, when you are in position, speak my name.
Keva's not allowed to pry her little silver tendrils into it and bother the Logistarch.
I mean, I wouldn't recommend it. I assume she has protection set up to avoid tampering.
As the one of the players who've had an AI directly interface with their brain, don't do that.
Yeah. Well, Keva's done it a lot, but
She's not an AI. I'll repeat, she's not an AI.
he's
She's a digital life form.
DI.
G wild.
DL.
That's for certain.
But I was just gonna say that I've started referring to her as Keva's bingo buddy because you said she doesn't like to gamble, but I just imagined like Keva and her must play bingo together.
I can imagine the Logistarch trying very hard not to just check what the upcoming numbers are. Okay, so for this mission.
So they have to play it analog.
Mm-hmm. What is the type of mission that you want to do here? I have an idea in mind, but maybe you have a different approach. I was thinking probably transport.
Transport.
Yeah, that
Makes
sounds
sense. Isn't it
yeah.
a specialty?
Yes, it is your specialty.
a speciality.
It doesn't necessarily affect anything, but
Specialty
think
is
maybe-
delicate materials.
and that's what this is. It is a delicate material to be transported. Good. And you've got the one of us thing there. Anything that you would like to do to prepare for this mission? There's not much research that you can do on this, I'll tell you now, because no one from this side has been through. But if you want to do any kind of other preparation or research into general, like that kind of thing, you can.
Yeah,
Just going to tell you, if your preparation is I want to research Anthophyta, you can't.
I was just thinking about Keva prep things. What can Keva do?
I have an idea for something I'd like to do to prepare.
All right.
One of our specialties is impact mesh, and I
Mhm.
know that is usually material that we have on the rover, but is there any way to make like a papoose out of it, out of the same material?
For sure. I think that would be acquire an asset, which is a downtime activity. But you can, let me see. No, what am I thinking here? So yeah, acquire an asset would be a downtime activity. I would say that in this case, I would let you do that. I would let you prepare that by expending a shell to call in a favor.
Is that cool with everybody?
Sure.
Yeah, go ham.
Yeah, I have no idea what's on the other side of this portal, so armor against kinetic impacts just seems like a good run-of-the-mill protection for this box.
Yeah. Okay, so transport mission, carry cargo or people through danger. Detail is the route and the means. So the route is you need to go through the rift into an unknown area with no maps, but you need to get into and through the rift without detection. And the means, you said you're going to take the express as far as you can, and then I guess going on foot.
Well, I was thinking we would take scooters, but
Any further thoughts on that?
The Cappy Burl Owl, whatchamafoots, the portal is within the city limits, cannot?
It's outside the city, but not far outside the city.
Then I guess hoofing it or scooters would be more low-key than the Rover or the Express.
Okay. Do you have scooters? You have a heavy Rover. Scooters would be what? Doesn't appear to be a scooters option.
what? I mean, I know that I just threw that out there as a thought, but can we write our friend and say, hey, add like a light scooter, foldable scooter option?
Okay. What I'll say is that we can probably have that scooter as something. There was a type of gear that I wanted to. Okay, jump kit. We could count, I think, jump kit as a type of small vehicle if you want, because a jump kit is a 2-load item. It's hip-mounted grappling hooks, magnetic gloves and boots, pythons, rope, carabiners, ascenders, and descenders, useful for scaling cliffs, maneuvering in 0G, or navigating urban terrain quickly. So that's maybe something, if we want to bring like a foldable vehicle, it would be similar to that. It would be like a 2-load thing.
Sounds cool.
Ooh, yeah.
All right.
So is this just a hoverboard?
It's going to be up to you what you want it to be. Probably each of you can describe what small foldable vehicle you bring with you. All right. So with that, we determine our loadout.
It looks like normal because heavy might put us at disadvantage, but that's just me.
I know exactly what Kev is going to use. Sorry.
No need to apologize. Yeah, normal. You'll automatically have 2 of that load taken up with your vehicle, which means that you'd essentially have light load, but at normal positioning. Otherwise, if you want to go heavy, I mean, it does make sneaking a little bit more difficult, but you'll have 4 load to play with rather than 3. So it just depends what you prefer.
A lot of my more important stuff is incidental, so I'm fine with normal.
Mm-hmm.
Normal works for me.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so let's do our engagement roll. Now you have -1 die for being unfocused. You start with 1 die for sheer luck. Add +1 die for particularly bold or daring plan. I think in this case, that is a yes.
Yeah, this is incredibly wild.
Sneak into unknown, potentially enemy territory through a rip in the space-time continuum that is only theoretically stable. Yep, so that brings us up to 1 die. The plan particularly effective at accomplishing the goal or exploits weakness of the target. This is a transportation plan. You're doing transportation, so that's 2 dice. Friend, contact, or community member can help with the mission. Well, you've gotten the assistance from the Logistarch, but that is also your employer here, so I'm not sure. Some D for miscellaneous elements, differences in tier, faction politics, etc. I don't think there's anything there that's going to fit. 1D from foundations and abilities that provide a bonus to this engagement roll. We don't have such a thing. Major disadvantages, overly complex or that relies on many factors. It's not overly complex. You just have to sneak through into a different reality and plant a box and some mushrooms. It does rely on the factor of the traversal being possible along with the return, but I don't think that's enough to remove a die. Particularly ineffective? No. Rival or enemies interfering with the mission? Not at present. And miscellaneous elements, differences in tier, faction politics, hidden complications. There's certainly differences in tier and you're going into the unknown, so I think we're at 1 die for our engagement roll. Did you want to do the headbutt swan dive roll this time around?
This doesn't feel right for headbutt swan dive.
All right. So we're going to roll 1 die. Who'd like to roll the engagement?
I did something last time.
Velvet, do you want to see if your hands are less cursed?
Oh, sure. How many am I rolling?
Uno.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow. Oh,
It
wow.
was,
Dang.
it
All
was
right.
Uno.
This is 6. That's incredible.
Oh, wow. Sorry. It came up. I saw the 1 at first that you had just rolled 1D, and I'm like, oh, no. And now I see that we got a 6, which is better. Sorry.
All right. So you are in a controlled position to start. So
I mean, it's
you
not
set
where
off.
we thrive, but I'll take it.
You set off. You take the express and you take it out to the outskirts of the city. And then you get out into you're probably on foot at this point because it's not too far to Capibaral's old burrow. And you can see from the edges of the burrow, you can still see that there is those strange lights coming up from the bottom. So it may not still be like a lightning storm inside there, but it appears to still be weird glowy stuff in the bottom of this burrow. Because you're in a controlled position, I think we don't need to deal with the first obstacle of the guards who are in this area. I think they are drawn away. They are distracted by something in the distance that pulls them away from their posts. And what pulls them away from their posts is you see the community's pillar is walking through this area of the outskirts of the city. So Quilt is out there taking the huge steps that Quilt takes, just big steps. And everywhere that their foot comes down, their big heavy claws leave behind in their footprints like a sudden little garden of wildflowers that spring up everywhere that Quilt steps. And the guards of the Anthophytan guards here, who were in this place, unbeknownst to you, are running over to like see what that is and if it's something that they're going to have to deal with. So like they are sneaking over to spy on Quilt while you are sneaking in behind them. So the timing is such that you see them come out of their concealed positions before you cross their threshold of alarm, and that allows you to slip into the burrow and down to the rift itself down in the base here. Now, the difficulty with this rift traversal is that for most of you, this will be the first time going through a rift without being fully protected by something. Like there's no train here, and this isn't an accidental crossing like what Jojo experienced during the pop. So this rift is like a hole in the ground, swirling blue and white, looking kind of like an ethereal whirlpool in a way. And, it's wide enough for 2-3 people to go in at a time, but you need to, I think there's a psychological challenge of saying, I need to jump down to go through, and it's not entirely clear what your orientation is going to be when you come out the other side. So I think do you all do this as a group, or do you go one by one here?
Keva loops her arms around the other two's arms, and is like, how about we go on 3?
3,
2,
1.
Ah!
All right. You want to do a group Wayfair here?
I'll lead
Yeah.
it.
Okay.
Wayfair.
Yeah, Wayfair. I hardly knew fair.
Hey.
All right. So everyone's going to roll your Wayfair.
That's one fail. And
Now I get 6s. What is
thank
going
goodness
on?
You're here, Velvet, because I got a 3.
And Keva.
All right, I take 2 dice and take the lowest one. Sorry.
Don't you give me another stress, you monster. Don't you do it. Get 2 6s. Maybe
If you do it, we're going to sick the honey
4.
boys on you.
I'm sorry, I
Alright.
got 1.
That's okay.
Okay, so this means that your traversal is a successful experience in that you don't become too disoriented to the point where you die on exit or anything, which is a good thing, I think, for all of you
Was that an
involved
option?
here. Well, you got a 6, so nobody takes any stress,
Oh no.
and that means we add a harmony as well because you got a 6 in a group action there. So we're at 3 harmony at the moment.
Aha.
So you jump through and you jump down into the ground, and it's sort of like going on a water slide in that, and the water slide is kind of invisible. You are just surrounded by this shifting white and blue light, but you can feel that there is something sort of guiding you, a slick, nearly frictionless surface that you are sliding against as you all move through this and the twists and turns, almost as if you are navigating, like a system of entangled roots or a crazy or a silly straw or something like that. And time feels suspended during this transit. It's impossible to tell how long it takes because it feels like a lengthy experience. But when you emerge into a new world, if you were to say check your watches, no time has passed on them. So you are all spill out, and because you got a 6, and land on your feet in Anthophyta. And what you immediately notice, thanks to having this 6, is that this side is quite fortified. It is not unattended or only has a few guards like it does on your end over in the Ruderal Expanse. Here, there's a whole facility currently being built here. It's already partially erected. Like there are temporary buildings made out of wood and stone. No, sorry, made out of wood and plastic. It looks like and metal, mostly plastic and metal. The buildings have been put up, temporary buildings, and fences that look like they have some type of razor wire at the top that's also crackling with what's maybe electricity. You can see about half a dozen guards that are wandering around of a variety of species, a couple of those sea cucumber ones and a couple of those bird ones, and then two of a species that you have not seen before. That is like a... okay. I'm going to reference a Pokemon here.
Yes.
Meet us on ground. We understand. Yeah,
Okay. You know the Pokemon Graveler?
absolutely.
Of course, our
Okay.
boy.
So Graveler is the evolution of Geodude, and Graveler is a round boulder with a sort of a shield on its head and four arms, two slightly smaller arms held against the belly, and then two longer ones coming out the side, and then very stubby legs. That's Graveler. So this species looks essentially like that. Imagine if Gravelers were made out of quartz rather than like gray stone. So Gravelers made out of a variety of different crystals, so different colors that they have, and they don't have eyes and mouths like Graveler does, but they have this band that runs across the front of their face in an X shape, and there's like this glow that seems to move back and forth along this X shape on the front of these creatures. So you can see them as well. They're also wearing similar colored uniforms to the other guards. So the Anthophytan guards here are all wearing a species appropriate variant of what appears to be some official uniform. And what this uniform looks like here is it's a salmon color and it has gold highlights. So it has a salmon color bodysuit kind of thing, not quite skin tight, but close, like a tight fitting salmon colored bodysuit with gold stripe like piping, slightly raised, going down the front and back of the limbs, and they also have like epaulettes, also of the gold material that are in a teardrop shape, kind of sideways, so wider, flared towards the neck or neck equivalent, and then narrowing to a point at the end. And they're all carrying a thing that looks like it's probably a gun. So there are 6 of these guards moving around in pairs. So 3 patrols, and yeah, you've got the fences and the plastic and metal buildings, and there's probably some kind of surveillance technology around. But because you got that 6, you have landed without setting off any alarms. And you have the opportunity, because you're in a control position, to observe all of these measures before you need to navigate them. But here you are. How are you all feeling after your transit?
Keva is dizzy and kind of like stumbles down onto her bottom.
Reaching reflexively goes into ball mode.
Jojo's fine.
Did Jojo had this happen already?
That's true, yeah.
Oh, well, that was a wild ride.
This installation, it's a lot bigger than we don't have anything equivalent on the other side.
Yeah, I kind of feel like we should maybe have something a little bit more guarded now.
The way things are going, that's not a bad idea.
We could activate her here, but I don't know if that's going to give her as much cultural information as an actual settlement rather than this, what appears to be a military installation.
We could always like try and hide and wait until they go home, or...
This is going to be round the clock, Commander.
No, I mean like the ones when their shifts are over.
It's a pretty good guess. And Keva, I think Keva's probably a little disoriented still between this and the unfocused, but it's a pretty good bet that there won't be a time when there are no guards. Like the shift changes, the group of guards comes up, and the current guards leave after that.
No, I meant they would follow the guards that leave.
And see where they go.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah, that's a possibility. There does appear to be like a road, at least a temporary one, leading out from here. So you could also follow that road or something like that if you don't want to wait for the shift to change, which we don't necessarily know when that will be.
I can keep us all quiet and cloaked. It's going to put the suit through its paces, but we need to get further in. We can't stay here.
I agree. We should be proactive. I mean, if push comes to shove and our stealth runs out, I can always just dash us back here.
You say so, Jojo. Commander, on your order.
Of course. Let's be stealthy and keep moving.
Then, Matt, I will expend 3 stress to activate the stealth field, which will block sight, sound, and smell.
Okay. Your charm veil. So you take 2 stress to wrap yourself in a cloak of charmed shadow, rescue you from sight, scent, and hearing for a few minutes. So as I recall, you have like a technological system that uses holograms and like some type of chemical scent production to do this. And then you're doing the extra feature. It covers a small group, right?
That's the plan.
So yeah, you expend this, and your selves are sort of shielded, veiled from the senses of the guards and systems, hopefully here. And yeah, you will have increased impact here in getting out of this area. So how do we want to go about leaving? What type of action do you think it'll be to get safely out of here? Like you're invisible, you can't be detected in that way, but you still need to get out of this installation. So you still need to do an action.
Shadow, I guess.
If we were to wayfare under like the stealth field, could we still wayfare, or is it just another shadow roll?
All right, so wayfare across the land, free run across crumbling ruins, traverse unfamiliar terrain, forage for food. I think wayfare would definitely be something you would do outside of a military installation.
Gotcha.
You could do it, but I think the impact would be reduced because wayfare isn't quiet, and shadow is specifically sneak past security.
It doesn't matter to me either way because I don't have any dice in Shadow or Wayfare.
Okay.
I also have nothing in Shadow.
I have the 1 dot. Well, you said we were getting increased impact from the charm bill, yeah?
Yeah, for sure.
Well,
It will definitely, the impact will be increased, and it will absolutely affect the types of consequences that may happen. You do also have 3 harmony currently available.
so if we went with Wayfare, would that just drop us back down to standard?
I would say Wayfare is probably going to bring you down to limited because like Wayfare is specifically about
like free running,
doing cool stuff.
Yeah,
parkour stuff. Not necessarily cool stuff, but doing like the purpose of Wayfare is the movement.
I would say another shadow group, and then we have the harmony to rely on.
Yeah, I don't have any stress, so if you guys want to have me lead so I can soak some.
Do you get any fun stuff when you lead a group action, just in general?
Double check.
I don't think you have that skill.
No.
Or ability, rather.
Yeah, I don't have any neat abilities if I lead an action.
Then
I think that's a charter thing.
Then I think, yeah, Shadow, you'll take the stress, and one of us should use a harmony.
Okay. So who wants to take the harmony here?
I'm the only one with a pip in Shadow.
Yeah, so
I'll take it. Or you could take it and just roll the 1. Yeah, either one of you.
Okay. So for your group shadow, so Keva is in command of the movements here, and I guess reaching your supplying your expertise and experience. You are in a controlled position still, and with your invisibility, you are going to be in a standard impact with this because you know being invisible to sight and sound, fantastic. It's going to make this more possible than it would have been otherwise, but you are still surrounded by security measures of all kind in unfamiliar territory. The sky here is orange, by the way. In case you've taken the moment to notice, you have an orange sky. There are 2 small lights in the sky that appear to be illuminating things. The ground around here has all been roughed away, and it is a sort of a purplish loam and dirt beneath your feet that you see. There's probably a different world out there, but there's the gates and such in the way before you can get out there. But the sky's orange, 2 small lights up in it. Unclear if they are stars or artificial or whatever the case may be. And the ground is purple and dusty. So you are in controlled standard.
All right.
I'll use the melody to roll just the 1 dice since I normally don't have anything else in Shadow.
A harmony, or you have a thing that lets you do your melody.
Oh, I thought a harmony let me do that. In which case, I will just roll my regular shadow.
Oh no, you can take the harmony.
Okay, I got a
Yeah.
5.
I was just confused.
Okay, so Kevin got a 5. That's good.
I got a 2.
All right, and a 4.
That's a
Okay.
3 for me. No, that's a 3. I take the lower one there.
A 3. Okay, so Kevin, you take 2 stress as you are sort of moving through. It's like trying to go through a maze, but the maze is constantly shifting because you're moving through this installation, and the guards are moving in their allotted pattern, so you have to move so that you won't touch them, and also won't touch anything that looks like it could move or create a big disturbance or get knocked over easily. And it's a stressful time. You essentially have to find an exit through these fences because you can't climb over them safely, even if you're invisible. They've got that electrified razor wire up the top. So you're looking around, you see there's a main entrance, you see there's a slightly smaller entrance off to the side. You make for the smaller entrance. You're able to open the gate and get yourself through quietly. And that brings you outside. You have succeeded in this task. You have rolled a 5, so there is a consequence in this case. So, consequences for controlled. You have made it out of the facility. When you make it out and the gate swings shut behind you, there is a moment of silence, like the guards stop chatting with each other, and you can hear the moment they stop chatting with each other. And then some floodlights come on and are, for now, focused on the inside of the installation. But this is moving your position from controlled to risky.
Where we thrive.
The installation has been alerted that something has happened out of the expected. A door has opened and closed that should not have opened and closed. Right now, they think the thing is inside the installation, but it's only a matter of time before they start looking out here.
Run.
We are on the move.
Yeah, now's probably a good Wayfair time.
Yeah.
Time to run cross country.
Yeah, so are you running together, or is somebody carrying the other people, or how do you want to do this? You've got your little vehicles. That might be a good time to tell us about them.
Oh, hell yes.
It takes out what looks like a weird feather duster, but the handle extends, so now it looks like a broomstick.
Mm-hmm.
He puts it there and it just starts floating, and she kind of sits on it and kind of takes a moment to straighten herself, and she's like, so this was a gift from a friend. Very tiring friend.
Oh.
Which friend is this one from?
Oh, no, this is CD. I mean...
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Okay. So you've got a hovering broom. What has JoJo brought as a personal vehicle here?
It's basically just a big clam with 4 wheels on it.
Yeah, then why does it even have wheels?
Yeah, okay. So I'm imagining, it's like a clam that you fold open into like a skateboard or something like that, because it doesn't have to be portable.
I was gonna say golf cart, but skateboard is so much better. Yeah, absolutely.
Haram.
Yeah, I think a golf cart would probably be a little too big for this kind of vehicle. Probably more than 2 load. Okay, yeah, so it folds open into like a little skateboard thing. And how about you reaching?
It's an Andromedan anti-grav harness.
Okay, that's letting you do like some floating.
And do some floats.
Or is it more like bouncing, or is it more like floating?
It's more like I'm floating a couple of feet off the ground.
Okay. You maybe do like some air skating or something like that. That's cool. All right. So you are all moving along. Are we doing a group Wayfair then, or does everyone want to do their own, or how do you want to approach it?
Hey, if we roll a 6, we get more harmony. So that's all I'm saying. Teamwork,
You are still at 3 harmony because I don't think anyone.
I don't think anyone used it. Yeah, we just talked about it.
Yeah, we talked about it and then didn't do it.
Yeah, so you're still at 3 harmony.
We could be a 4. I'm just saying. I mean, we all have.
Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying we all have different vehicles. So maybe individual Wayfair makes sense. I have no idea.
Okay, but I'm gonna use a harmony because I don't have any dice.
You do you, boo.
Okay, I'm gonna roll.
So you're taking individual routes. Okay, so we're at risky, and it'll be standard effects here. There is a road, but I'm guessing you don't want to go on the road. So
2 of us got 5s.
Yeah, that's good.
Woo.
I'm debating whether or not to use a harmony. I'm gonna use one, and I'll rely on Mike to get another 6.
Mike got a 5 already.
I'm down the line to replenish it.
Don't worry, I'm a kestrel. I'll eventually roll a 6. It's just
I believe.
how it works. Yeah, take the harmony. Yeah.
I'm glad I did.
You needed
That's a
it.
4.
You sure needed it.
The second time my dad has decided to play Uptown Funk today.
I'm surprised it's only the second. I feel like that usually, is like 4 or 5 loops.
For my dad, he's normally listening to oldies. I don't really know why.
Bruno Mars has that. He's got sort of an old school vibe to a lot of his music. It's clear inspiration there, and Uptown Funk especially sounds a lot like a funk anthem.
Okay.
But yeah, I gotta agree with Velvet here because Uptown Funk is usually played at least 4 or 5 times if it's played once.
So now what do we do?
Well, it should be kind of a smooth ride. We didn't roll too terrible.
3 partials.
We all just move into desperate and just level up like gods. Or we have a very fun chase sequence. Or we get attacked by fungus.
No, I think that we would not get attacked by fungus because,
Well, that's true.
yeah.
Fungus. There is fungus among us.
Okay, I'm back. Right,
Greetings.
so 5, 5, and 4. So everybody succeeded. That's good. So for risky consequences, I think. Okay, so for each of you, there is a consequence, a risky consequence here, and I think what happens is that the unfamiliar terrain here is a strain on your transportation equipment. So you find that as you are making your way through this environment, the environment is not having a great time, or rather your equipment is not having a great time with this unfamiliar environment. The gravity here is different. The composition of the air is slightly different. You can still breathe it, but it seems like it might be a little bit corrosive even to your materials that your equipment is made from. So for each one of you, the vehicle is going to be damaged. So you will not be able to use it to get back unless you take some time to try and repair it in the field here. But it is enough to get you out into the area where you're going, and you start to get like an idea of where you are. You can see that there are more roads appearing. The area you're in here has a lot of low rocky hills, and the rocks are alternately there's purple rocks. There's also some rocks that look like they have this sort of a silvery look, so fairly similar to granite, but shinier. And you have some rocks that are sort of a pinkish hue as well. And it's sort of low rolling hills, and you can see that there's a temporary road that has been laid down that looks like the one that's heading out to that outpost to where that rift is. And it is a road that has been, it looks almost painted onto the ground or carved into the ground and then painted over with a material that hardens the surface. So it looks like it's a very serviceable road, but it looks very clearly like it was recently gouged into the ground and then installed in that way. So your vehicles have sustained enough damage that it'll be enough to get you to where you're going, but not enough to get you all the way back again.
Oh boy.
Yeah, Reaching would recommend that even if they do conk out, that we should take the means of transport with us regardless, because we don't want to give the Anthophytans anything to study.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you're here. You're in this unfamiliar terrain. There's the occasional tuft of it looks like it's grass, but it's not always waving like on the ground. It's grass that these strands that seem to reach up out of the rocks. They're pale white strands rather than the green that you might be used to. They reach up out of the rocks and kind of wriggle around, and as you approach them, they pull back into the rocks until you've passed. And then they slowly emerge again. That's the foliage that you see here.
Well, this is cool. I really hope that the mushrooms we bring in don't mess with the ecology of this place. I hope it's not an invasive species.
How do you all want to find this settlement you're looking for?
In all likelihood, anything that's close enough for the military guys to be walking is likely still going to be military. Maybe we can follow vehicle traffic. It's going to take us further out, but greater chance of it being civic.
But I do a vibe check.
What's your goal with it? What do you want to do with that?
I guess I want to try to feel for a direction where the most vibrant energy is coming from.
All right. Give it a shot. You're in a risky position. You have experienced the vibe energies of a variety of peoples and species that come from this area. So you can conceivably look for at least a concentration of that. So risky and standard effects.
Hey, 4 again.
Okay. So you get a direction. There's a couple of different like pings on your vibe dar, as it were. And, there's some fairly strong ones off to what you might think of as the east, and then a couple in the opposite direction. There's very faint back the way you came from. Like there's not a lot of people in that direction at the moment. And there isn't too much to the north. So east seems like a larger concentration. West seems like a smaller concentration.
I will relay that and just go. We should probably head to the biggest concentration of energy. Probably the most people the Logistarch can learn from.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, sounds good.
As a consequence, Jojo, I'm going to add 2 ticks to your Lido reprisal clock.
Fair enough.
As you are sensing the vibes also sense you. That brings that clock up to 5 out of 6.
You have an anime rival shows up clock.
That was my goal all along.
This is the greatest game ever.
Where do you all want to go? You going to head for the larger concentration or the smaller one?
Large, large.
A unit?
The unit with the greatest electromagnetic mass.
Okay. So you make your way to the west, and I assume that you're like avoiding the roads themselves, trying to stick to the hills, or are you taking the roads?
The hills.
Yeah, I can probably lead us through the hills.
Okay. I'm not going to do another roll for this because you've already had your group wayfare. I'm just going to stick with that fact that it succeeded, and the consequence, as we established, was that your vehicles will be breaking down after you get over there. So eventually on the horizon, you start to see tall buildings, like these large spike-like buildings that are thrusting up into the sky. Some of them are extremely tall, like taller than any building that you've seen. And all of them seem to share this similar shape of it's a tall spike, and the taller they are, the thinner the spike in general. So like the lower buildings are almost like a pyramid in a way, and the taller buildings are just like very tall, narrow spikes that get narrower the closer to the top they get. But they all have a sort of similar footprint as well. So somehow the materials that they use to construct these buildings are able to, violate that square cube law, where they will not take up that much more space on the ground level, but they can get taller and taller by becoming thinner and thinner, as if you took a triangle in a drawing program and then just dragged up. That's what these buildings look like on the horizon. You could see there's this a great deal of a haze hanging over this place that you see. It looks like maybe a small city or a very large town in terms of the size. But you are getting towards the outskirts, and the roads are getting wider, and you start to see occasionally vehicles speeding along them. These are wheeled vehicles. The vehicles have 6 wheels. 6 seems to be like the standard number for things from Anthophyta, 6 limbs, 6 wheels, and so on. This city is there in the distance, and the 2 lights are moving across the sky, and they are reaching towards the south at this point, which maybe you need to revise your internal compass and have that be west or something. But they are sinking towards that distance, that direction towards you, and the lights are going from an orange to more of a burnt umber, I suppose, as the lights begin to fade, and what appears to be night seems to come out. So they seem to have a natural, or maybe not natural, some type of day-night cycle here, unlike in the Ruderal Expanse. Yeah, you can also see big floating signs and holograms and stuff advertising this, that, or the other. There are things that would be unfamiliar to most of you. I guess probably reaching, you might recognize these as like toll checkpoints, a place where you would have to pay to continue your journey using the roads. You can see a variety of those on the roads here.
I'm breaking federal law.
Now, why does reaching know what it is?
Because there were toll points for the in the fleet, in the Hygiene Expanse. Like when you went on those slingshots, you would have to pay to access them.
Oh, like keeps on noticing these booths, and it's like, So are those like little rest booths?
Not exactly, Commander. It's if there's civilian traffic, most likely they have to pay a certain fine in order to continue using the roads.
Like a weird look at reaching, like just the just over and over and over again.
It's normally things held in the common interest would be paid for by everyone. Well, when there's a single entity that controls access to everything, then you have to pay them, even though it's in everyone's common interest to have navigable and safe roads.
Okay, that's weird.
Well, I don't agree with it, but there you are.
Now, how do we want to go about setting up here? You want to try and get closer? I think if you look at the box, who's carrying the webbing papoose?
Probably Jojo.
Okay. If you look at it, there is a light on it now, and it's like one of those indicators. It's an indicator in the style that you would like recognize as a fairly universal style, where it's like the closer you get or the stronger a signal is, the more for us it would be like green. It would be, or the more segments fill up, and the further away, the more red or fewer segments. It's one of those indicators on the box, and right now it's in the the yellow zone, the sort of mid zone. It appears the box has detected something it can try to connect to.
How's our passenger doing, Jojo?
So far, so good. Can I make my way up to those cables?
The cables,
You said like the little protrusions?
the grass stuff that comes out of the ground, comes out of the rocks, or is there a different? Did I say something that I've forgotten I said?
No, I think I misunderstood. I think I read like the little stuff coming out as like some kind of interface.
No, that's basically grass, but or maybe more like anemone or something.
Evil
Anemones.
quest. It's not like the anemones.
And then
I'm resigning.
I'll defer to you, reaching. What do you think would be the best spot to leave our little surprise?
Ideally, someplace it won't be found for a while. Maybe she's able to interface quickly. We can snag her in the same mission, but I mean, we'll know more as we attach her.
Are there any kind of tall structures nearby without getting like too close?
Let me see here. I'm going to do a fortune roll. Here.
Fortune roll.
If we get a 4, 5, or 6, there will be something nearby that you could, like a structure.
Ah.
And I'll base that on the Logistarch's tier.
Oh my.
Okay, so 5. Yeah, there is a structure that you can see a little bit to the south of your position here. You would have to cross one of the large roads to get to it. But there's just a thing jutting up into the sky. You don't sense any person energy from it, but that's not a bulletproof method, really. It's just you don't get the feeling that there's people in it, but there's no way to know for sure from here. It's not clear what the structure is, but it is there, and you can see a similar one closer to the city, and then another one that's further from the city, vaguely in a line.
Yeah, I think I'll try to make my way there because I figure I'd rather leave it somewhere high where it's less likely to be found.
Okay, right. So to get over there, you'll basically need to get across the street without being seen or hit by traffic. Do you want to all do this, or are we going to send one person to do this? What's the plan here?
I could use my sight to spot for Jojo and keep in comms.
Okay.
That works.
Okay. So let's do that then. So you're assisting Jojo. So you would take a stress for that.
Yep.
And then Jojo, I'm going to guess this is, I guess if you go quickly enough, this could be Wayfair.
That's my intent.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll do Wayfair and hope that it's a full success.
Are you all cool with me using another harmony?
I believe in the you that believes in you.
Go ahead.
Doctor.
All right. Here we
I'll
go.
bring us down to 1 harmony. And there's a 6. Okay.
All right.
That's the friendship die.
How do you bound across this road? The road is like as the light is leaving the sky, the road itself starts to have a soft glow to it. This soft sort of blue glow that offsets the darkness in the sky. There don't appear to be stars, or at least if there are stars, you can't see them through this haze that is drifting out from the city.
Light pollution.
Are there still cars on the road?
Yep, there's cars going back and forth occasionally, like not a constant stream out here, but there's, back and forth, there are cars going in each direction. Cars and larger vehicles. You can see the occasional, like you would assume it's basically a truck kind of thing.
I mean, yeah, if I find a clear opening, I might just dash across, kind of like,
All right.
when Kronk was sneaking around singing his own theme song.
You're going to Frogger it. All right, yeah. You make it across, and I think you can probably, you got a 6 on that. You're able to scale this structure. Like there don't appear to be, it doesn't appear to be staffed. Like there doesn't appear to be people working here. So you're able to get up to, close enough to the top of this structure. You're up pretty high. You have a good view, and I'm going to guess you're climbing the side of it that's faced away from the road at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're up here. You've got the box, and the instructions said, "Speak my name."
Logistarch.
Okay. The box unfolds. It folds open, and it's got this it unfolds the way that a cube would. So it's got 6 segments, and 2 of them basically adhere themselves to the side of the building here. The slight slope here. I mean, you were able to find handholds between the materials this was built from. It's like almost a concrete kind of a thing that it's built from. So climbing wasn't easy, but you found a way. There's the occasional rung on it that it looks like it's maybe designed to be climbed sometimes. And again, not clear what the structure is, but you're up here. The box unfolds and adheres itself to the flat surface, and you see there's a little mound of dirt in a little basket on the bottom segment that's dangling down now, and it's got some of the wave fungus in it, and you can see some of the there's a bit of a glow to it, very subtle glow, as the fungus begins to activate and send out spores and quest for those connections. And a Logistarch's face mask is projected from the central part, and she looks at you and she says, "Oh, well, I was expecting to see Kevin when I activated, but I suppose I shouldn't be too surprised, Jojo. You always did like to." She looks around. "Stretch yourself. Now, where are we?" And, the mask is looking back and forth and then looks over towards the city, which isn't too far away now, but she says, a settlement of a decent size. Allow me to see if I can. And there's this binary code running through the eyes in the mask-like face here. And she says, yes, I recognize this from the advertisement. Yes, indeed. I think that's enough to confirm for us that it did originate here, or at least parts of it, the code did. And if that allows me to, and there is a pause, and then the mask kind of flickers out. Going to do another fortune roll here.
Oh.
Okay.
What?
A 4. So the mask flickers out, and it's about 30 seconds before you see a smaller version of the mask flicker back into existence. And she says, "I have good news and I have bad news, Jojo.
Hit me with the bad first."
I cannot form a connection back to the Ruderal Expanse in Medleystead."
All right. That was worse than I thought. What's the good news?
The good news is I have access to their networks.
Perfect.
Yes, I can. It will take me some time to sort through all of this. It's fascinating, but I am going to give you an initial estimate, I suppose it would be, in this medium. And you look down and you see a slot opens in the projector kind of thing underneath where the Logistarch's mask is being projected, and just a little smooth rectangle comes out. "And please take that back to my central self in Medleystead, and she will know what to do with it. It's just an initial survey of what I was able to get briefly, but I fear when you came through, it did draw some attention. You opened or closed a gate that was not scheduled to open or close, and I fear if you do not return now, you will not be able to at all."
That tracks for the way our interactions with these folks are going. I can take this little chippy thing back with me. Does the cocoon need to come back, or should I leave this here?
"Leave this here. I will remain and monitor. If you can return for me, then I will hold out until such time. If you cannot, I will destruct this unit rather than allow it to be taken."
Makes sense. All right. I'm gonna head off.
"Excellent. I will do what I can to hold the way open for you and interfere with their systems back at the outpost as long as I can without drawing too much notice to myself. That should allow you to at least make it back in and through the rift if you hurry." And the mask flickers back out, and the glow from the mushrooms fades. You see the mushrooms you see the mushrooms kind of shrivel and become ash as they sort of self-destruct, because if they can't form a connection back to Medleystead, it's better for them not to fall into what is increasingly appearing to be enemy hands.
Mm-hmm.
So as the Logistarch put it in the subdued way that she tends to, you gotta haul ass.
Yep, I am hauling all of the ass.
Commander Jojo's making a beeline.
Sounds good. I hope it's good news.
I come over the comm. Jojo, what's the situation?
Mission accomplished, but the Logistarch says that we need to leave right now before we miss our window.
Commander, gates closing.
Okay, let's get out of here quickly.
All right, I gather up my observational equipment and proceed to make like a banana.
Okay. As you increase the potassium intake of all the people around you, I assume that's what you mean.
That is what I mean.
Mm-hmm. How are we getting out of here? We can probably wrap this up with a couple of rolls to see how clean your getaway is. I don't want to be overly punitive here. So your impact is going to be reduced because your personal vehicles are at this point, like by the time you get back to the outpost, your personal vehicles will have already broken down. So you can't rely on them to get you all the way back. We'll have reduced impact on whatever method, whatever action we use to get back there. And then you're going to need to, with the Logistarch's help, get back through that rift. So I think we've got 2 rolls left on this mission here.
Okay.
Yeah, as we're collectively hauling ES, reaching, we'll look over to Keva. Commander, your orders, silent or loud, get away.
As quiet as possible.
Understood.
Okay. So you are making your way back, and do we want to do a final wayfare to get back, or do we want to do a different type of roll here?
We have 1 harmony.
You currently have 1 harmony, yeah.
I say Wayfarer, somebody lead, please.
Oh wait, you assisted Jojo on that roll, right?
We have 2 harmony.
You have 2 harmony remaining.
All right. Yeah, I can lead our wayfare.
Sick.
Okay.
Okay. So you're riding your vehicles until they're no longer working, and let's see how that goes.
Fail for you, Velvet.
That's a 2 and a 1 from reaching.
You're welcome.
I'm gonna burn that wayfare we just got back, if that's cool.
Oh
That's
wait.
a 2 from Keva.
Oh wait. Do I roll 2 and take the lowest?
If you have 0, then yes.
Yeah. Sorry, I forgot.
All right,
Let's do one more.
Let's do a re-roll there. Just roll 2 of them, and we'll see how it goes.
Even you see?
Okay.
It was
It's a 1 there.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
1.
Okay. So that's 2 stress so far for Jojo, and
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Jojo.
Hey.
Thank goodness.
Jones.
Okay. Crit there, 2 6s for Jojo. So Jojo, you do take 2 stress, unfortunately, despite the crit here.
it's okay.
But you are able to get everyone back, and despite the vehicles breaking down, I think you're with the wayfare here with a crit. What I think would be interesting is essentially you are able to create enough of a distraction outside the outpost that you can all do a sick flip over the dangerous fence while they're distracted, so you don't have to open the gate again, if we're okay with that. Does that seem okay?
Sick flip.
I like
yeah.
it.
Okay. So yeah, you're keeping your broken down vehicles with you. And maybe this is a situation where Jojo's tossing you over and then leaping themselves again. But either way, you're able to get over the fence and back into the facility. And our last roll here is going to be getting into and through that rift undetected. It's probably got to be shadow or finesse if we want to have standard effect on this.
Okay,
Our roll to get back through the rift.
Yeah, I can do neither of those. Or rather, I can, but I shouldn't.
You do have, I believe that there are still 2 harmony left because you just got 1 back from your crit. So there's 2 harmony left.
I have the 1 pip. You both can take a harmony each and give yourself 1 die, and we can hope that at least one of us will roll a 4 or 5.
I'm down for that.
Okay.
Sorry.
What is this?
Which one are we right now?
Shadow, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Sneak past security.
Okay.
All right, let's roll our shadows.
One of the harmony, right?
Yeah. So it looks like everyone's rolling 1 die on shadow here.
Oh gosh. 1 or 2. Jojo, bring it on home. The 5.
Okay. All right.
Hey.
That's good. Okay. So you're sneaking through here. You are waiting for the timing. I think the distraction that you set up outside is probably a useful one. Like maybe you had an explosive set off out there, or you fired a gun and fired a weapon and had a rock crash down to make a loud noise, something like that. So people are out there and they've seen it, and now they're on their way back in. So this does succeed. You got a 5. Who was leading this one? Was it Jojo or Keva that was leading this?
I didn't say that I was leading it.
Okay.
But if you want me to lead it, I can lead it.
Can't lead it because
Whoever led it takes 2 stress. That's all I need to know. Whoever's leading takes 2 stress there.
Do you need to have a pip to lead it?
Nope, you don't even need to be good at it to lead it. It's just you're the one taking the initiative here and the risk of the extra stress.
I'll take it. Give me a moment.
Okay. So that was risky. Let's look at our list of risky consequences. Okay. I'm going to create a negative clock and add 2 ticks to it as a risky consequence. And I think, despite your best efforts, there is the risk here that who you are, or at least where you came from, will be discovered. And I'm going to set a clock here for the Anthophyta, the Republic of Anthophyta, discovering that it was you who was here. By you, I mean the Myriad.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
Are we okay with that?
That is a totally fine and dramatic clock.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's okay.
Okay. So that's a 2 out of 6. Anthophyta discovers it was the Myriad who infiltrated their territory. Okay, you get back through. You are back to the Ruderal expanse. The guards, you're able to get past them on the way back in. It's probably easier from this side. And, Quilt is still banging around out there doing whatever it is that Quilt's doing right now. They seem to be having a good time. As you are walking, you see Quilt sort of rear back on 2 legs and make a loud noise that reverberates through the atmosphere, and that causes the guards to slap some of their hands over their ears or wherever it is that they're hearing from, because the sound is loud and to them unexpected. I mean, you all hear it pretty regularly,
Yeah.
but because they're sort of startled by it and covering their ears, that's when you're able to sneak past them. It's almost as if Quilt is looking out for you somehow.
Yeah.
Back to the express and back into town. And do we? Okay, let's take a few minutes. Are you okay to take a few minutes, or do you all want to end now?
I can continue for a little bit.
Yeah, I can continue as well.
Yeah, I'm good to keep going.
Okay, I don't have long before I need to go, but I just want to. Well, we still got some momentum here. Do a bit of the downtime. Right. So you return, and Kev, I'm guessing you take this chip to the Logistarch?
Yes.
Okay. So she accepts it from you, and she says, "It's a shame that we weren't able to establish a permanent link using the wave, but my counterpart, of course, made the same decision I would have, being me. And this initial survey will be perhaps critical to our understanding of this so-called republic." So she takes it, and the chip sort of dissolves into her skin, and you see her eyes begin to do that flickering that they do when she's processing. And she says, "I will get back to you with the results once I have had the time to parse through them and understand them. Thank you for your assistance in this matter."
Of course.
And so she nods, and we'll see what you get in the way of shells here. 3 shells. Okay. So unfortunately, I guess the Logistarch isn't able to free as many resources as she might wish to reward you, but you got the 3 there. And now we did burn 1 trade there. Okay, so yeah, your cache is nearly full with shells, which is good. And of course, you can use those when you need them. All right. Heat and notoriety. Smooth and simple, no collateral damage, I think, is what happened here.
Yep.
So that's 0 heat, +1 for an operation conducted in hostile territory.
Yeah.
+1 for a mission conducted against a high-profile target. They're high-profile in their own area, so I think this is just 2 heat at the moment. Okay. That brings us to our entanglements. We're going to roll 3 dice now because we have that level of heat. Got 7+ heat right now. And on our notoriety 1, that gives us a 3. A stranger walks into town. A stranger walks into town with what seems like an incredible mission offer, but there's something they're holding back. If you run the mission, it pays +2 shells, but I will create a secret complication for it. All right, I will figure that out in time for our next mission, what that's going to be. So that should be interesting. Okay, entanglements, downtime activities. Do you have any downtime activities you'd like to do?
Cut loose.
Yeah.
Loose.
Okay, are you all going to cut loose together?
Sure.
Makes sense.
Okay, whose cut loose action is this? Whose downtime action is this for cut loose?
Reaching.
Okay, where are you all going, and what are you doing there?
Brings everyone to the aquarium and has been with Ollie occasionally just making a nicer rudimentary kitchen, and Reaching wants to just cook dinner for everyone for the first time.
Aw.
Like, we're officially completely moved in, even though it's been a few months, but we're finally unpacked the last box.
I love that.
That's nice. All right. So to cut loose, you roll your lowest attribute plus 1 die because you're doing it together.
Which are we rolling?
Your lowest attribute rating plus 1 die.
I got 2.
So that's for you. You'd be rolling 1 die.
I crit and clear all my stress.
Nice.
Hey.
Okay. So equal to the highest attribute rating and clear stress equal to the highest die result.
Oh my! I
Okay.
overindulged by 1.
Well, I guess the good news is that for once you cleared more stress than 3.
For once.
For once. Okay, so if more than one person overindulges, I think just one person overindulged. Okay. So the list of overindulgences are disharmony. Something reveals to your crew that maybe you're not as in sync as you thought you were. You start with 1 less harmony on your next mission. Extra trouble is an additional entanglement. Internal strife, which causes tension. Maybe somebody makes the wrong kind of joke or touches on an exposed nerve or an insecurity or something along those lines that causes tensions to flare. And you take 1 stress. Everyone takes 1 stress rather. And then unfocused, negative 1d to your next engagement roll. So which one would you like?
How does everyone feel about an additional entanglement?
I always want more entanglements and situations. Personally, I enjoy it when events take place.
Oh, but we have so much room for activities.
We have a whole possibly infinite strange demiplane.
I really don't know why this amiibo is so expensive.
Which is it?
The Wolf Link one.
Lots of people must like that one, yeah.
Yeah. Right now, it's selling for $74 on Amazon.
This is a remarkable amount of money for the amiibo.
Yeah.
All right, what'd you pick?
An additional entanglement.
Okay. 6. So entanglements. Notoriety 1. 6. Roll with minus 1 die on notoriety 2. Okay. Notoriety level 2. 2 dice. 6. Roll with minus 1 die on notoriety 3. Notoriety 3. 1 die. 1. Dangerous mission. Someone has come to your crew with an exceptionally dangerous opportunity. If you take the offer, you take minus 1 die to the engagement roll for this mission, and I will introduce a hidden complication, but you get plus 3 shells at payout. So we have basically 2 missions coming up that are going to be exceptional in one way or another.
Either someone's a liar or one is just really dangerous. I love it.
All right, so I'll get that worked out. Okay, so that was Reaching's downtime activity. Anything for Keva or Jojo for your first downtime activity?
Can I say that I take my 2 activities at once by combining them, my long-term project and training?
Yeah, I mean, you can say that you do both of those things. That's perfectly fine.
Yes. Okay, so I'm going to mentor my mentee while training my kinesis.
Okay. You sparring with your mentee, I assume?
Yep.
Okay. So, yeah, roll your, what's the word? Your skirmish, and then add a point to your kinesis. And we'll see how your long-term project goes as a result. Okay.
Oh,
2.
no. Keva, did not win that fight. Oh,
It was
no.
getting messed up.
Girl, Keva won that fight too much.
So you add 1 more tick to your mentorship clock there. And 1 point to your kinesis.
Added the point to the kinesis already.
Okay, so that's your 2. Jojo, did you have an action?
Yes, I can acquire an asset as downtime, correct?
Yep.
I think Jojo would like to go hunt down the shell.
You have the shell. You don't remember picking it up, but it's there.
That's poopy, but okay. I'm glad it's not going to cause trouble for anyone else. Could I begin a long-term project of understanding the shell?
Yes, you can. You can do that. Every time that you roll on it, it will be reduced effect, though, because it is actively distracting you. But you can do that for sure. So if you want to study the shell, I think that's going to be a 6-tick clock that you can add to your sheet there on your long-term projects, which is below your harm. And it's a 6-tick clock. What action are you taking to study it at first?
I think tune.
All right. So roll your tune. Okay.
That is a
so
4.
all right. So you got a 4, which would normally be 2 segments, but because of the nature of this thing, that means you mark 1 segment on your clock.
Okay.
All right. So yeah, as you are studying it, it's like when you are doing your homework or reading through something that you don't really want to be reading through. Like you start on it and then you're procrastinating more than Jojo normally would, but you're really trying to focus on this and get into it, but you don't make as much progress as you feel you should have because there's just these constant interruptions, distractions, things to think about rather than this, and like this constant pull away from paying attention to it. But you do make some progress. You're able to like get a general idea of the composition of it, like what it's made of. You can tell that it's not from this reality. Like it's certainly not from Medleystead or the surrounding Riddell Bloom. The materials are unfamiliar. So that's about what you get so far.
Okay, that's fair.
Reaching your second action.
Finish up research on the game.
Okay. How are you doing it this time?
This time I am going to infiltrate the FRC, or at least the place that I've seen Ye visiting most.
All right. So this is what kind of action do you see this as?
Probably Shadow, because I assume by this point I know where it is.
All right. Give it a roll. And is the Logistarch working with you on this still?
Yeah, Reaching has no reason to keep her out of this.
Okay. So add a die to your roll. 4. Okay. So yeah, so that means you fill in 2 segments, which I think completes your clock there.
Yep. 3 out of 4.
Okay. So with the information that you have here and the information that the Logistarch has so far been able to parse out of what is basically just an info dump that she got from her other self. Yeah, I mean, we can confirm at this point for sure this game is from Anthophyta. It's from the Anthophytan Republic. And it appears to be, so far, it is a virtual reality full immersion simulation. There doesn't appear to be any trapped artificial intelligences or anything like that in here from what you can tell so far without accessing the game itself. But you can see, as you do this, this is definitely a game from Anthophyta. It is a game that they want to be distributed here and don't want to be officially recognized or officially noticed. And you see that, unfortunately, it has already started to spread throughout the city. There are lots of people playing it, hundreds. And so far, the people who are playing it that you can check on, they seem fine. They don't seem to have any obvious negative effects, but I mean, it's still something you should definitely be suspicious of. And I think the Logistarch definitely says, I think we need to get into this game.
Yeah, we need to take control of the source code.
All right. I think that's all the downtime actions for everyone.
Yep.
Okay. XP. Who'd like to do XP first? Don't all volunteer at once.
Sorry that.
Did everyone finish both their actions?
Yeah. Keva did both actions at once. You did the cut loose and then your long-term project. And Reaching did the long-term project. And Reaching, did you do a second action?
The cut loose was Reaching's, I believe. I'm missing my second one.
You're missing your second one. All right. Sorry. I had those flipped around in my head. Sorry. What's your second action, Jojo?
Second action.
There's always train, or you could start constructing a foundation. Those are some good options. You've got enough shells that you can start constructing some stuff for now if you want.
Actually, yeah, that'd be cool.
Okay. You can start work on anything in Foundation's Prosperity 0 at this point. So Sacred Shrine, that's plus 1d to tune rolls that take place on site in your base, or in the city rather. Secret Pathways, hidden routes in and around the community, plus 1d to shadow rolls when you're in Medleystead. Terrain maps, plus 1d to engagement rolls for transport plans. You've got a warehouse already. Workshop gives you tier counts as 1 higher when you make a crafting roll. Lotus Beacon, hallowed artifact, serves as an anchor for quintessent energy and buoys the life force of arcane beings. Plus 1d to connect with transcendent forces when you're in Medleystead. Radiant Archive is a historical archive of scientific data that survived the emergency. So it'd be like an offshoot of the Nexus. Plus 1d to decipher and shape rolls in Medleystead when the archive could conceivably help your research or construction. The observatory, eyes in the sky as close as you can get, plus 1d to trace rolls in Medleystead, as well as any rolls that involve observing celestial phenomena. Hidden community, I don't know if that's a really useful one. Adaptive hardware, your tech is adaptable, making it easy to interface with strange tech and radiant artifacts. You get plus 1d to engagement rolls for technical plans. Cover operation, minus 2 heat permission, 3 caches. Cover identities. If you're trying to trick someone, it helps to not be yourself. Plus 1d to the engagement roll for deception plans. A dropjet hangar is a VTOL transport jet and a hangar to store and deploy it. The dropjet is sealed and rated for short stints in vacuum or underwater and big enough to comfortably fit a medium group's worth of people, about 12. The dropjet, again, it would be very short stints of flying before it was forced to ground, but it is an option. And friends in low places. A secretary here, a dock worker there, a driver elsewhere. It's good to keep a network of people who overhear things. Take plus 1d to collect info for a mission. Cost is 2 caches. Each one of those has a cost in caches. If you hover over the name, it'll show you.
I like the one that, not the shrine, but the other one that could anchor a transcendent being.
Lotus Beacon?
Yes.
So plus 1d to connect with transcendent forces within Medleystead, or in this area, this region.
Indeed.
Okay, so that costs 3 caches to begin construction. So when you to construct a foundation, you need to invest caches equal to the foundation's cost. Then mark where you're building your foundation on the community map and start a 4-tick clock. You'll typically use shape rules to work on the foundation, but there are circumstances where it might be more appropriate to use a different action. Fill segments according to the result of your roll. 1 to 3 is 1, 4 to 5 is 2, 6 is 3, critical is 5. You can make a roll to fill clock segments when you first establish the clock. Creating the clock and making the first roll are part of the same downtime action. Okay, so that means that we'll take 3 shells out of our caches and we'll put them into our prosperity. And then we will come down here to the bottom row and mark these 3 as invested. All right, so 4-tick clock. And you can roll your shape to have Jojo and friends start working on it. And if you've got, I assume people will be helping with this, you can add an additional die.
Cool. Should I just be rolling 1 die then, since I have nothing in shape?
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
All right, a 3. So on the 3, that means that you do 1 segment. So we're at 1 out of 4. So I'm going to mark that here. Under foundation clocks in progress, I will put Lotus Beacon. There we go. Anything else?
That's all I got.
Okay. Let's quickly do XP, and then I literally have to run out the door. Who wants to start with XP? Reaching, did you say that was you?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you address a challenge with physical prowess or use your surroundings to your advantage?
Yeah, at least once. Just,
Okay.
I don't know about my surroundings, but I made it so that we couldn't be perceived in that environment, regardless of what the normal methods of detection would be.
Okay. Did you express your heritage, background, or anchors? Heritage of Centauran Flotilla. I think background, at least.
Just background, I would say.
Okay. Do you think this contributed to establishing a lasting peace?
I think that Reaching feels that this, even though it was clandestine and just for the Logistarch, this kind of still feels like this does feel like a military black operation. So I don't know that Reaching thinks that this is going to achieve peace, but
okay.
Then again, he might be like, we have to do some dirty stuff in order to see if peace is possible.
Okay. Well, you pick. I think you get at least 1 there. So at least we're at 2 so far. And you have 1 or 2 for the second one. You need to, I guess, figure out how Reaching would view that. And did you struggle with issues from your belief or your quirks? You use a safe place for me and my loved ones. The people here need me to protect it. And your quirk of haunted.
I don't think I struggled with either of those.
Okay. So that is it 2 or 2 or 3 experience?
I'm going to say 3 because Reaching definitely thinks like to protect these people, I'm going to have to establish a lasting peace. I'm going to have to do things others might not approve of.
Okay. And you know how you can invest those XP, where you can put them.
Yes, I do. I'm going.
All right, Keva or Jojo?
I got mine.
Okay, go for it, Jojo. So, did you address a challenge with endurance or intercept danger before it could strike?
As far as endurance, I think it's the skateboarding across the mountains and climbing the tall building.
Absolutely. Okay, so that's 2 there. Did you express your heritage, background, or anchors?
Heritage, background, and anchors. Not sure.
Okay. Did you struggle with issues from your belief or your quirks? Did you have to deal with them in some way? You don't have any quirks yet.
No. And then as far as beliefs,
community is a safe place for me and my loved ones, and the people here need me to protect it.
I acted according to them. I didn't so much struggle with them.
Okay. All right. So you've got 2, I guess, 2 experience so far. Unless, yeah, looks like you can invest those as you wish. Keva.
Okay, I think I only got 1 XP because I did not address a challenge, really. And I didn't really express my heritage, background, or anchors that much, but I do think that
You had your curiosity into the unknown.
Yeah, okay. That was the 1, and then I think that's about it. So 1 XP.
Challenge with empathy or talk your way out of a tough situation. Express your heritage, background, or anchors. Issues from your belief or quirks. Okay. All right then. That brings us to the end. So thank you everyone for joining us today. I have been Matt, or ARP. My pronouns are he or they. Follow me on Twitter at Whycalibur. Follow the show at Broken Sun RPG, or go to brokensunrpg.com to check our website. I want to acknowledge that this podcast is produced on the unceded territory of the Katzie, Kwikwetlem, Stalo, Kwantlen, Stz'uminus, and Musqueam people, and the treaty land of the Tsawwassen First Nation. please continue to support Indigenous people around the world, especially in the wake of the harsh reminder of the horrors of residential schools here in Canada, by exploring the Settler Saturday hashtag on Twitter and other social media to donate directly, learn about the land back movements in your area, and apply what pressures that you can, use your voice in any way that you can to push back against the ways that settler colonialism, either where you live or near where you live, affects and oppresses Indigenous people. There are ways that you can help, even if you are not in a settler colonial nation. There are still ways that you can apply pressure and assist in those places. Please do if you can. Today, I was joined by Keekers.
Hello, everyone. This is me, Keekers, also known as Be a Space Cat. Today, I played Keva Charma, who has she/her pronouns. I, as well, have she/her pronouns, and I hope you all enjoyed everything.
Thank you. We've also got Mike with us today.
Thanks, everyone. It's been me, Mike Blood, as always. I've been playing Reaching Through the Night, and I'm hoping that you're enjoying everything you're hearing.
Thanks so much. And Velvet.
Thank you all so much for joining us for another episode. I've been Velvet. I use favorite pronouns, and I've been playing Jojo, who uses they, them. You can find me pretty much everywhere on the interwebs at OG Brown Sugar.
Thank you again. And until the next time, all the best. And we will see you next time, space friends.
All the best.
All the best. Bye-bye.